Hi, this is Damien at AtHope, and I'm an Axiological Atheist. And I'm here with my guest. Could you please tell us your name and what kind of atheist you are?
Hi, I'm Gabrielle, and I'm an apathetic atheist.
Okay, could you explain what that means, or what it means to you?
Well, I guess it means to me that I don't believe either way, and if there's facts of either a god or no god, then I'll go with that. But until there are facts, I don't go with it.
Okay. And were you always an atheist, or were you raised as a believer?
Well, I was raised as a Seventh-day Adventist. My father was a Seventh-day Adventist, and my mother stopped being a Seventh-day Adventist when I was about 10 years old.
Okay. And how was it for you? Did you believe personally as a Seventh-day Adventist, or did you believe in God?
Well, I think I felt at the time that it was a better idea to do my best to believe just in case, because my dad used to use the teaching of Revelations to kind of get us to get into the religion.
So in other words, you're saying that he would try to scare you into belief, so you, like Pascal's wager, better believe than not?
Yeah.
All right. So you never were a devout believer. I mean, when I was younger, I really believed. I was actually scared of God.
Yeah. Well, I always questioned it, but I felt that I was bad for questioning it because of the fact that if God did exist, then I was a bad person for questioning his existence.
Okay.
So I wouldn't look into it after the thought came into my head.
All right. And so when did you decide that it was okay to question or, admit that you didn't believe?
Well, actually, I think that was through my rebellious stage when I was about 13, 14.
Okay. And when
I felt that I never really did think that there was a God. So if I didn't really think that, then why should I try and hide it and say that I do?
And did anyone in your family have something to say about that, or how were you treated different?
I wasn't treated different per se. My father did try and talk me out of it a little bit and argue against it and stuff like that every now and then. But generally, it wasn't too bad because I didn't see my father very often.
And your mother didn't care?
No, because she was raised a Christian and then changed to atheist a while back. She thought that finally turning to the right side kind of.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool. That you at least you have your mother, right? Is your dad still a Christian, or is he an atheist?
No, he's still a Seventh-day Adventist. But he does talk to me, and he doesn't mind talking to me, but he does like to get into arguments over my Facebook posts and stuff like that.
And what do you post on Facebook he doesn't like?
Oh, just anything like maybe. Sometimes I share some of your posts, like proving how the Bible contradicts itself and stuff like that, and he'd try and argue against that, saying, no, you're taking it in the wrong context,
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And different posts about scientific discoveries, like the fish that in Australia that can walk on the ground of the reef there, and it's developed legs. So that was a very interesting find, and he thought that it was Photoshop.
Oh.
And there were 4 different links that he didn't, because he decided that it was Photoshop from the beginning.
That's always weird to me, because like I don't understand. They think that the whole world's a conspiracy. I mean, even if you could keep a conspiracy, could you really keep a conspiracy with the whole world? I mean, really?
Well, actually, I remember him telling me when I was younger, he did think that the scientists that believed in evolution, that didn't actually believe in evolution, and they were being paid by the government and stuff.
What's so funny is if you ask most people, does the government perfect? They'd be like, hell no. You say, well, can the government do a perfect conspiracy? Of course not. Well, it doesn't, like you said, are they doing a conspiracy with evolution? Well, of course they are. Well, what? That doesn't even make sense. Most people feel the government fails at most of the things it tries to do. But so it sounds like that you know, you're willing to be pretty open, which is good. You know, is that, I know you're from Australia. Is it more open there, or because in some places in the United States it's open, and some places it's not?
Yeah. Well, in the I haven't been very far around Australia, but in my area it is very open. When I was a 7th day, nobody really said anything or minded at all, and they just look over it as if it was nothing. But I do think that was also because it was back before I was before when I was about 13, 12, and stuff like that. So people didn't really judge on what matter. They thought, oh yeah, different from me, doesn't matter.
Yeah, because like even when I lived in California, which is more of an open, you know, state in some areas, people still always assume you believe in God, and they're like shocked that you don't. You don't believe in God? Well, why not? Why not?
Yes, I don't think you're able to put up with living in America, so that's one of those reasons. Like,
yeah, it's
the amount.
Yeah.
Assume that the whole of America is based on Christianity.
They think that.
Yeah.
Well, they actually. Yeah, they think that only Christians have rights too, which is a very very Christian thing for them to do.
I saw a post the other day about how a lot of Americans seem to think that the Constitution is based off the Bible when
yes.
The Bible
ridiculous.
The word Bible in it at all.
No, and if you're going to say it has a historical context, and you're going to say it's not from Western Europe, or even parts of Eastern Europe, then you certainly, the only thing left you could say, besides it is definitely not the Middle East, would be that it's from Native Americans, maybe. You know, that would make more sense, because they actually dealt with them, and there was tribes that had things that were very close to the, you know, the beginning of the... But to say it's from the Middle East, anywhere, is ridiculous. But so, do you find it's easy being an atheist in where you're at in Australia now?
Yeah, really. It isn't a kind of a statement.
No one ever asks if you believe in God, or they say anything when you tell them you don't?
Not really. I had a conversation with a Christian on the bus at one point, and I think he just said God bless or something like that, or I thought it thinks that everything is slowly, and then I just stated that I believe in God of sheep. And okay, well that's fair enough. That I heard that the bias and everything, and that God treats you well even though you don't believe. So I've met a lot of decent Christians, I think, in my time in Australia and stuff like that.
I've seen some parts of Australia, it seems like, or are starting to have more influx of Islam. Is that becoming a problem where you're at?
Well, I do know about a that will be happening at the end of this month, just down the road from where I live, and I'm attending that was originally a protest, a march that was against Muslims in Australia. So up to a big Harmony Day march from a little protest that was 20 people, it's now 1,000 people protesting against these people, Muslims in the country, and they don't want anything to do with other cultures.
So you mentioned cultures too. So is it more of a like a racist or a bigot thing, not just against the religion?
Well, I do think it is a big. There are a lot of racists bigots in Australia against general races, like Indians are very. We were watching a documentary a while back about how unsafe it actually is in most of Australia for Indians in general traveling around, and how dangerous it is for them to catch a bus or a train alone, and they have to take a lot of precautions if they want to come to Australia. There are a lot of young kids that have been taught by their parents that it is for and they get thrown to an argument.
Yeah.
But there are also a lot of good videos and that of people standing up for those people that are racist against them, and for people who are racist and bigots become quite challenged by the sheer amount of people that are telling them this stuff.
Okay. That's good. So, do you think that it's more religious? Like sometimes, like in America, some people that are like the more bigots seem like that they're also connected to a lot of religion, especially Christian. When it comes, especially to Islam and stuff, do you feel that that's a factor, or is it just bigots?
Well, I honestly haven't seen any correlation in Australia between Christianity and people being against other religions here.
Okay.
Other countries, and I think it is more to do with the people that were raised by their parents who lived through those times of people of Australia being against Aboriginals in any colour and living through the white Australia and stuff like that. Because it was Australia's been for the longest in most of most.
So is the issue with the Aboriginals gotten better, or is it still pretty bad?
Well, honestly, that is a very interesting subject. I don't know if it's gotten better per se, because a lot of the Aboriginals I find don't want to help themselves. They prefer to just get paid and sit down and have and just take the government's money and not do anything with their lives. I know there are a lot of Aboriginals that do feel that they want to become part of society and stuff like that, and they want to be better people. That a lot of people that have hate all of Australia, even though that's on and the racism against Aboriginals is gone, they still feel very hateful towards everyone, and they don't want to try and contribute.
So, do you feel that there's any room for atheism or secularism to make things better in Australia, or do you feel it has no factor?
Well, I honestly think that with the balance that we've got at the moment, the only I think that atheism would be different if we had a much higher level, would be that there would be a lot less fights against the gay rights and stuff like that. I know that there's a big problem right now because Australia's not pushing for the gay rights to
Right.
anything like that. We have a Christian family.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know if America became atheist and secular, a lot of things would change.
Yeah, so I have heard a lot about Christianity being very strong in just the people of America and how they changed it completely because of religion. But in Australia, I haven't really noticed anything different except if atheism was a lot stronger. I think maybe Christmas and Easter might be different.
Yeah. Maybe some people will be celebrating winter solstice. I don't, but I mean, I know atheists that do.
Yeah.
Instead of Christmas. So do you go to any meetup groups or atheist groups or meet with other atheists in where you live?
No.
No?
We're very social.
Is it because you're not social, or there's no groups to go to?
Well, I haven't looked into it too much, so I usually there would be groups, but I am not social enough to look into them. I have a very close group of friends, and that's about it.
Yeah. So do your most of your atheist connection is online then?
Well, I have a lot of like my group of friends are atheists. I don't actually have any close friends that are Christian. My father is Christian, and that's about it. But they live in America. So.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you had a bunch of atheist friends. Right on. I lost friends. When I became an atheist, two of my lifelong friends I lost just because in America, just because I was an atheist. Both of them one was Catholic, one's Christian, but they both stopped. Like I knew them for like 30 years, and it's like from like high school.
That's crazy. Yeah, I can't imagine being in Australia with so open, and I can't imagine losing friends over something like that.
Right? I mean, just because you don't believe, not because I'm a jerk to you or something, but just because I stopped believing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, a lot of my family, basically disown me or don't really talk to me, or my mom and my stepdad, when they talk to me now, it's like so reserved. But they're like both pastors and youth pastors, and everything they do, the whole life is church. Like my mom, when she answers the phone, puts like a call, you call and you don't get her, and you get a voice recording. The voice recording says, "Hello, Jesus loves you," then leave a message.
Wow.
They're like fanatical.
Yeah.
But they're more calm. My mom, when I was a kid, used to go around outside and put oil on the windows and doors, to keep the demons out.
Wow.
You're thinking, wow, great to not be an American.
Well, I thought that for quite a while, looking at different things on the internet that I've heard, but I never actually decided to make a judgment. But I definitely would never like to live in America because of them, just in case that it's just what the internet thinks.
Yeah.
How the Canada is like, because they have that fixed on their notes.
Yeah. I went. I've been down to Mexico, and I've been in America. Every state in America is not the same. Some are really extremely, where you almost, if you had a sticker on your car for an atheist, you'd almost get hurt, and then or your car damaged, or if you I mean like really crazy. But in other parts, not so much. I mean, it just really depends. But yeah, there's definitely places that, not. Yeah, but I've been up to Canada, and Canada's definitely a lot more laid back and not such a big deal. I thought about moving to Canada, but yeah, I think, like I said, so I think that some parts are probably as bad as you think it is, and other parts are probably not as bad. But
yeah.
in the United States, but yeah, it needs to change. But then again, hey, it's worse. It's worse in other countries. I mean, there's other countries where you just get killed by the government for being an atheist.
Yeah.
So, did seeing the internet stuff, did that make you more of an atheist, or has it had no effect?
Well, I think it has had an effect to more make me proud to be an atheist because of the different things that I've seen on the internet that Christians or religious people do just because of their religion, and they fight very hard to justify that they do it sometimes that are pretty stupid.
Yeah. It's definitely turned me, even though I've experienced some stuff myself, having the internet I see even worse. It makes me realize, I mean, I now don't like other religions that I before didn't even know existed. So, I mean, it's been a big change for me. And also hearing different people's voices from, other places to know that it's not just bad where I'm at, it's bad everywhere.
Yeah.
So, how much do you feel that welcomed, as a female in the atheist community online?
Well, I honestly think that it's no different as to if I was a male in the atheist community, just because they would treat me exactly the same either way.
Well, that's good. Yeah, the reason I ask is I want to see if I've had done like 23. You're the 24th video, and I've asked a whole bunch of different women because I want to find out, because it certainly if it was a religious community, I don't think women would be feeling super welcome or treated as equals.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that, we're doing, the atheist community is doing a good job to be equal. Well, I think we should. So, do you think that there's ways that the atheist community could be better?
Well, there's bad people and good people in every in every label, I guess. Like in religion, there are good people and there are bad people, and in any country as well. But I do think that some of the worst people in atheism could try and not be so violent towards religion, because some people do need religion, but at the same time, that should be treated as something different instead of saying that God is real for them and treating them like they're right. You should treat it as they need to get help and they need to go and talk to somebody about this.
So did you? I couldn't understand a second. So did you say that you believe that atheists need to treat religion better or treat religious people better, or do you think it's the same?
I think religion in general, because a lot of attacks on religion that people do start usually on religious sites or religious pages, just for the sake of it. Sometimes they feel the need to just go over and make a snide comment or something like that.
Oh, yeah, you mean trolling?
Yeah. I'm not very good with
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't go on other people's sites and say a bunch of stuff. People have asked me, hey, why don't you come and troll this thing? Yeah, that's not me. To me, if people are minding their own business, I don't go on their things and attack them. That's just not me. I mean, I say things on my page, and then if they want to come on, they can come on and try to challenge me. But I don't go hunt people down. I have friends on my friends list that some of them believe stuff. I don't go attack them. I don't go on other people's pages.
Yeah, I do think that it is wrong to go out of your way to try and attack religion or religious people because of the fact that they are religious. That's making it as bad as what they are doing to come out to us and try and force religion onto us.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've done street in America. I've done street activism where I stand out there with signs for atheism. But
I've seen a few of your pictures.
have you seen some of my pictures? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't attack people. I just stand there and I let them come to me or not. And but usually they come. It's kind of like I don't know if you've ever seen the American movie The Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
It says if you build it, they will come. Well, if you bring a sign of atheism, they will come.
Yeah.
They will. You don't have to go looking for them. They will come looking for you. So, but even when they do, I don't treat them mean, because I feel like why I'm doing it and the same stuff online. I want to help people. I once believed. I don't want people to believe anymore.
Yeah.
Because I care about people, not because I want to put them down and be mean to them. Is that kind of what you're talking about, or am I too extreme for you?
No, that is what I was trying to explain.
Well, I mean, there's people that think I'm too extreme, so you wouldn't be the first. Although you're special. Yeah, so if it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't be as much of an atheist. But it's really informed me, and also one thing that the internet has done is that people come on and challenge me, then I have to back it up.
Yeah.
And so that's actually made me a better atheist too. And that's actually what got me thinking about doing my book in general, was because people kept attacking me and I kept saying things, and then I had to say it again and again and again, and I realized I need to write some of this down.
Yeah.
So do you go ahead.
It's definitely reached a lot of people, a book about everything filled in and all the sources and everything, and it'd be a very interesting read, I think.
Yeah. Oh, my book's... I've been working on it for 3 years. Have you seen the cover?
Wow.
Have you seen my cover I posted?
No, I haven't.
You're like, oh, you're too boring. I go your page once every month, or just to make sure you're still there.
Actually, I don't go on Facebook every day, so my feed is always... I don't actually go check out everyone's pages. I just look at what my feed's doing and then go again. They go up there.
Well, good. I'm privileged. Well, I post a lot, so it's probably why I'm at a lot of people's feeds.
Yeah, it's actually why I had to unfollow you, because I kept getting a lot of notifications.
Oh, look at you.
I don't follow. I think it was not take it off, get notifications.
You mean take off being the special friend? You know what I'm saying, right? That you can do it's a unique, or what, I don't know what it's called now, but you do a little star. I have 3 or 4 people I have that I have where I get every message they do.
Wow. I guess that'd be it then. I don't know.
You're like, no, I didn't do that for you. Thank you for making me feel special. Yeah, but so I will send you the thing in an instant message of my book. But yeah, I've been working on it for 3 years, and it's called The Tree of Lies and Its Hidden Roots. And it's exposing the evolution of religion and removing the rationale of faith.
That sounds like a very interesting book. I think I'd definitely buy it.
Yeah. And so I start religion at 100,000 years ago.
Wow.
And I showed archaeological, and I also talk about Australia a little bit, how 75,000 years ago people came to Australia, and I talk about the Aboriginals a little bit, and with the rainbow the rainbow goddess, snake goddess, or whatever. Of the yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that'd be a really interesting read. I do enjoy reading about ancient history, so.
Yeah, because I wanted to do is find out, how if religion is now, was it always like this? Where did it start?
Yeah.
So I wanted to find out where it started. What was the first religion? And then I found out a bunch of facts that I was shocked at. Like the first shamans ever found in the world were female, which was like, what? So in more than one place. So it was a widespread, belief, which I explained why that I think that kind of was too. It used to, and also why snakes are considered to be sacred in a lot of religions. One, like for the Aboriginals, the rainbow itself being a snake, but the other thing is the umbilical cord that comes out of the woman into the baby looks like a snake, and it's connected from the mother into the baby, and it gives the baby life in a sense. They thought so.
Yeah.
So they saw the snake as life, and then they also, a lot of them thought a snake is death because the snake bites you and people die. So the snake is life and the snake is death. Anyways, but it's funny how the stupid things like that to us now, it's like that's like funny that someone would think that, but really all the concepts of God are pretty funny. There's lightning bolts, that must be Zeus. Or Thor's hammer is happening. People. The beliefs are relatively childish and foolish.
Yeah.
So that's, and when I really felt like that I wanted to present that so that when people know, it's even more sounds foolish. When you learn, you're like, oh man, this is really stupid. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
You have a great idea. It's a book.
It's a what now?
You have a great idea for the book.
Yeah. Oh, I've already done the book. It's
Yeah.
I've already written it, and it's gonna get published in a few months.
Awesome. In a few months, that's great.
Yeah. Yep. So, and then the cover is my own art because I'm also an artist. So, but yeah. So, do you feel that it would help you to be out more? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you desire, I know you said you're kind of introverted, or you're not like, do you have a desire to do more in atheism? Like, say, like for me, I want to do a lot. I want to do more. I want to get involved and active. Do you feel that, or is it just, you're, the place you're at, that you don't believe?
Well, I honestly think I'd like to take part in a lot of different events, such as marches or political events, and just any kind of thing that gets the word out, and there's a big day that a lot of people get involved in, and I'd like to enjoy myself with those days and stuff like that. So I'm looking into them a lot more, and I'm also more excited to get involved in protests against a lot of the government way of doing things and the laws that they're trying to pass.
Can you name some laws that you want to protest?
Well, there's none at the moment, but a while ago there was one that I was going to go and protest down in Sydney for, but I never ended up getting there. I don't actually remember what it was for, but I do remember that it wasn't passed, which is why I don't remember it. It was good that it didn't pass and was out of our mind. But at the moment, I'm keeping my mind open for protests against the marriage laws.
Right.
Because they aren't legalizing gay marriage, and I'm looking to find protests that are protesting that.
Right on. I agree. That's a good thing to protest. Have you ever gone to a gay pride? Or do they have that?
I haven't, actually.
You have?
No, I haven't.
Oh, haven't. Yeah, I've gone to one so far. I have another one that I already paid to have, and I had an atheist booth.
Oh, yeah.
And I handed out cards, and I handed out a piece of paper with 7 reasons why one would want to be an atheist.
Sounds good.
Well, I was surprised at how many people that are, gay or lesbian or bisexual, they still believe in God. I was like kind of shocked. There was like 7 churches there, and then I was the only atheist.
Wow.
So.
That is really strange, considering that God is deciding them in His words.
You would think. Stoning to death and all that, yeah, kind of could hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
So, have you ever thought about going and talking about atheism to people?
Not really, because I'm not a very good speaker, so I don't. I'm not very good with my ideas, unless I'm sitting online and I've got a way to research it very quickly and double check all my signs, because I've got terrible memory too. So if I find something and I think, yep, that's awesome, and then I go and try and tell somebody, I think, oh, it could have been that or the other thing. And so I'm not entirely sure as to whether or not my facts are facts.
But you could, tell people, like one thing I try to tell people, that I think that you don't have to be perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. I've done a lot of speaking, even on the thing, and you know what? I tell people I'm not perfect. We're not gods, so we don't have to be perfect. I mean, we're all even if all you said was you should question, a god, is just as much as you'd question a child that says they have an imaginary friend. Where's the proof? What is this friend doing? How do you know that you have an imaginary friend? How can you prove it to others,
Definitely.
So, or you could say if you went to gay pride, you could just say, hey, I don't know that much, but I'm an atheist and I accept you. It's amazing how much we can give people when we just give them our heart, our care, our understanding. Hey, I know what you're going through, and I want you to know that us atheists are behind you. I mean, it's a powerful thing. I think that we often feel like we can't do anything because they can't do everything. But that doesn't mean... There's a lot of people can't do everything. We need you.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. I think we'll get into it a bit more and talk to a few more people about it.
Yeah, and like I did, I have the same problem you do. I do forget things. I forget a lot of things, and so and I'm gonna have to eventually give speeches and stuff for my book, which is gonna be very hard. But I'm gonna be honest up front. I have a problem remembering stuff, so anyway, I will hand you guys out stuff, and I will try to do my best, and then if I'm wrong, hey, at least I have it written down correctly. But what the one thing I always do is I have a handout, and I don't tell people to take it. What I say is, would you like one? And so maybe I'm just saying to you too, maybe you can give someone, and all you have to do is just get a couple arguments, or I can even send you the document. Just it has a couple arguments for, how many gods there are. Does this make sense? The fact there's evil in the world, does this make sense? You don't have to, it doesn't have, and you can just give it out. Or even stuff you find online you like, that makes you think, or would make you a believer think, just put it on a piece of paper and just give it to somebody.
Yeah.
So then you it is a lot easier because, like you said, I mean, another thing too is a lot of times people they're scared just like you. They're nervous or whatever, and the person you're talking to more than likely is not going to be some Bible scholar, or they're not going to, understand the Quran totally, or they're not going to be totally into Hinduism or Buddhism. They don't know their religion probably much more than you don't know their religion.
Okay.
I mean, one of the ones, the one thing religion has going for it is called faith. You don't have to actually know almost anything. Just believe.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you're doing something right now. So you're already being active.
Yeah.
So you're already making a difference.
Well, it feels good to make a difference.
Good. And the whole point is, like I said, that we always make a difference. We have this opinion that it's like, only one person, is what matters. But a movement is a bunch of people. And even one person at the front is being supported by all the other people.
Definitely.
So, it's good. And I think it's good for us to sometimes to do things that aren't super comfortable. Everything in life that's good is not usually super easy or comfortable. And if you what I try to do though is just be honest. Just be yourself and be honest. And when you're talking to people, you say you don't know. It's okay to say I don't know. That, in fact, actually, if you don't know, right, because you said you don't know, so you can't remember something, that actually helps them to be more honest. To them to say, because they really don't know about their God. They don't really have any evidence. When you say you don't know, that allows them the opportunity to say, yeah, maybe I don't know either.
Yeah.
So you didn't know how powerful you are.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so...
I definitely participate in a lot more arguments against religion and against blind faith.
Right, blind faith. One of the best way to have an argument, if you don't remember anything, is just ask questions.
Yeah.
Just ask questions. It's a powerful way to not even... It doesn't require you to remember anything. Just ask questions. They say, I believe in God. Okay, why do you believe that? I believe in God because of this. Does that really make sense? Yes, it does. Can you tell me why? You just keep asking questions. Well, because I have faith. What does faith mean? Where does faith come from? What happens if someone has less or more faith? When did you start believing? See, because people always say they believed in God. When did that start? Just like I asked you about being an atheist. When did belief start? Most people are like, well, I always believed. Did you believe before you read? Because they'll say, I read the Bible, so I believe. Well, did you believe before you read the Bible, or did you read the Bible and then you believed?
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of questions to it.
Well, you see what I'm saying, though? When you ask questions, it's actually a very powerful way. Because people, in other words, people are a lot more sure of things until you start asking questions. How do you know what you just said?
Yeah, it works very well. It puts them on the spot and makes them feel like they need to answer it as well, so that they're like they're teaching as well.
Right.
To answer your questions as someone who believes, they feel the need because they need to convert you, and so they want to answer as many questions as possible.
Right, because they think that if they answer the questions right, somehow you'll believe.
Yeah.
But you know what really usually happens? Either nothing, neither of you, or actually they start doubting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they start realizing, wow, I can't answer all these questions. And no one's ever made them answer the questions. And see, if someone as sweet as you would probably make them feel like that they're not being attacked. See, every time I ask people questions, they feel like it's an argument. But, I have a lot more, I'm 6 foot, I'm a big guy, I have a lot more of a gruff, personality, so most people take almost most that I say as pretty strong. But I still get to a lot of people. So I'm just saying that you feeling that you're not that way, but that might actually be in your benefit. You may be able to get to people that I can't get to.
Yeah, definitely.
See? Like I said, you're needed. And I really appreciate you, doing the video now and taking your time, to do this, because it matters. So what would you say to people that are doubting faith in the same situation that you are? They're a Seventh-day Adventist, and they're trying to figure out, they're confused. What would you say to help them to not believe?
So I definitely say just ask questions and think about it a lot, and just definitely ask the questions, question your faith, question the Bible, study it a bit more, and question exactly what you've been taught and how it makes sense with the Bible, and if it does make sense with the Bible, because I know that my father, what he used to teach me didn't really connect with the Bible sometimes, and I used to pull it up on him sometimes, and that would also make me think, well, maybe this isn't correct.
And do you feel any different now that you've made more of a strong stance against the Bible and against your religion of Christianity or religion in general?
Well, I feel a lot freer and less I feel less paranoid about a lot of things, because I remember when I was Seventh-day Adventist, because I didn't fully believe, and I was just in case. I was very paranoid about everything I did, just in case it was wrong, or I may accidentally swear or accidentally say something rude to somebody else, and I'd be very paranoid about that, when that would come and stuff like that, and trying not to think the wrong thing, because God is telepathic, so he knows everything, so even if you think the wrong thing, it's quite scary. You get very paranoid about it.
Yeah, and do you feel any, besides being not paranoid, do you feel any happier? You said free, and what does free feel like? I mean, do you feel free because you're not paranoid, or do you feel free because you feel more loving or caring or not judged?
Free because I'm a lot more relaxed and open with a lot of people and about a lot of different subjects as well, because there were quite a lot of subjects that I would have turned away at even the thought of it because of Christianity and the thought of a God coming down on me and punishing me for even thinking about it.
Yeah, well, I know that's personally been the same for me. My whole life it was basically a sex issue. I always had good demons on me, and I was going to hell. Just always wanted sex, and you're wrong. And I masturbate. Mom told me I'm going to go to hell and demons, and and then have sex, and then they tell me I'm going to go to hell. You're not married, Then you get married, and you still want more sex besides marriage, and that's going to go to hell, and yeah. I don't have that anymore, so I know what you're saying about free. You're like, no, that's called freak, not free.
Well, definitely, it'd help a lot, I think. But also in my mind, I'm a lot freer, especially since I started my most recent relationship with Andrew. He's helped me be a lot more open with a lot of different subjects, because he's a very strong atheist, and he believes that there is no God, definitely, and that religion is wrong and very morally unjust, and that it shouldn't be in our schools and stuff like that. And that has helped me be a stronger atheist too, because before I was still a bit questioning, and now I understand a bit more that I think I should question both sides equally, until there's more, until there is more proof on one side, and there is more proof on one side as it is.
Yeah, well, I question atheists and skeptics and agnostics, and yeah, I question everybody. I question myself. I don't think that anything should go unchallenged. That's like when people challenge me, you know, it doesn't make me mad. But it's funny how some other people, when you ask them a question or you challenge what they think is, they get all angry. It's like,
they just that I take it as a new way of thinking, and I appreciate it because it means that I have a better understanding of either myself or the other person by the end of it.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. You know, like you said, your boyfriend or whoever you're seeing. I'm a strong atheist. To me, in philosophy, I would say it's psychologically certain. I am as certain as you can be with the human mind. And I also, for me personally, that I build part of that when you said about proof, I build that from epistemic certainty of the natural world. And epistemic basically means the highest form of knowledge proof. If there's anything that science has proven, everything it studies, in every part of science, in every country, throughout time, has come to the same conclusion that everything is natural. It is the most confirmed thing of science. In fact, the scientific method will not even allow you to add supernatural claims. So, because it's been proven that that is not valid. So to me, as you talk about proof, you may not accept that as proof, but for me, there's nothing more. It's a billion times over, I don't know, 1,000, billion, trillion, whatever, times that science, everything that tests nature, test this, natural, test this, natural, test this, natural, test the lightning, natural, test the stars, natural, test the oceans, natural, test the human body, natural, test the mind, natural, everything natural. It's so when you say there's no evidence, but I hear you for you, but for me, I see a world of evidence and then a void. No evidence of any kind. Not even ever for God. No evidence of any supernatural anything. No prayers working, no nothing, no afterlife, no spirit, no nothing. Just everything, zero. So, to me, that's like going to court. Okay, over here, where this person says, and they have all these facts, and this person says nothing. Make your decision. My decision would simply be, well, the evidence, this person has nothing. But I understand some people don't view things the way I do. For me, there's nothing more clear. Unless you're going to deny the natural world and say that science isn't actually testing anything. But then, are you really here? Are you in Australia? Are we on planet Earth? Is the Earth spinning? Is it spinning around the sun and through the galaxy? How much do you not believe? I mean...
Well, let's see. I do believe all the scientific signs in it, and I do believe that evolution is the most definite thing that happens. But at the same time, there are a lot of people that believe that evolution and creation actually correlate, like that the Bible is wrong in the ways that it would state it. But there are people that believe that God started the process. So I believe that until there is proof against God completely to the point of there's no possible way for him to exist, there's still a possibility there. And not that and in the same way, I would treat Christianity the same until there is complete proof that he exists to the point there is no possibility that he doesn't. I'm not going to believe that side either.
Yeah, I don't believe Christianity. I don't believe any religion. Like I said, my book I talk about where religion started. You know, the first religions or first religious thinking. It wasn't even religions at first. First religious thinking was burials, 100,000 years ago in South Africa and in Israel, or now it's Palestine, where the 100,000 years, two separate places, but the exact almost year and time or range of time, burials, intentional human burials with grave goods and red ochre. Which then red ochre is even used in Australia. The first burials, the oldest burials in Australia, have red ochre on them.
Wow.
Is it Lake Mungo? I'm trying to think. I got details. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Is that correct? The Mungo Man or something like that? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think there was 3 people. Or something like that, a woman and I think 2 guys or something. But anyways.
I don't know too much about it, but that does sound about right.
Yeah. But it's about, I think it's like 30,000 or 40,000 years ago in Australia. Anyways, whatever. Like I said, I'm not super good at details either, so off the top of my head. But I do know that they had it's something like 3 people or something. It's more than one. And they had red ochre on them, sprinkled on them. They also find red ochre in all kinds of Neanderthal burials, and it's a religious practice. And it's one of the first minerals dug in South Africa. It was red ochre, which has no food value. It's like rust. You can't eat it. It's not good for you. But they would smear it probably on their skin or on different stuff, and they obviously sprinkled it on the graves. And even in England they find it. They find it in a lot of continents.
Well, that is a very interesting factor with the red ochre being in all the different countries.
Yeah. And in the red in general is considered to be a very sacred, even in some religions up to today, still following the same line of thinking. And that somehow it's a sacred thing of blood or life or death. When you come into the world, there's blood, and when you go out of the world, there's a lot of times there's blood. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, honestly, by the sounds of it, we put the correlation between all the countries, even though back then we wouldn't have had much contact. It sounds almost like a evolutionary process of the mind that all humans have to go through, and it changes every year, and eventually we get to the point where it just stops, and there's no more religion involved.
Right, yeah, I think there's 2 things. I think some of the religions have touched each other and shared ideas. It's absolutely. I mean, the first religious structure built by humans was in Turkey, and in southeast Turkey, it's called Göbekli Tepe. And the first worship, though, is 70,000 years ago in South Africa, of a snake rock, and they burnt little arrowheads and stuff to it, and like little sacrifice. But funny, right? But anyways, when you go through and you find out some of the things that they did or they thought, to me it really makes it, like you said about evidence. It makes the evidence on our side, because I can tell you when religion started. I can tell you when women started to lose power. 10,000 years ago, 11,000, when they basically were able to domesticate animals. About that same time, right? Domesticate animals. Before that, they didn't understand. Women gave birth. Oh, miracles. It's a goddess. It's special. Man, woman's able to make babies. All of a sudden, they domesticate animals, and they realize, wow, we can control, man can control these animals. Also, before then, too, there's not really that much human gods before 10,000 years ago. It's more about animals and stuff. There's some goddess stuff, but it's mainly animals, or nature, kind of, or some kind of thing like that. but I talk about it in my book. But once they do domesticate animals, I believe that is the downfall, the beginning of the downfall of women in religion.
That's not very right, because it was connected very well, considering women before that were considered goddesses for the way that they could reproduce. But after that, the animals were also considered gods in most
That's
religions.
right.
They can control the gods of the animals, and they will be able to control the women.
That's right, yeah. But it still wasn't that much. They still was somewhat equal. Then about 7,000 to 6,000, you start to have where women are not equal. Their status starts to be, okay, women are less. You can tell that because archaeologically, when you look at the graves, how they bury them, at the first they're burying with almost similar things. Then all of a sudden, women get less things. These guys start getting more things. you see that there's a difference happens. Then about 5,000 years ago, they invent the state, basically. In Mesopotamia, they basically invent state religion, where they build a religion icon in the middle of the town or the city, and then they build the city around it, and then everyone has to worship the deity. Some were goddesses at first, some were gods, which is because you have the pantheism. But they usually were run, though, by a man. Okay, there's a few times that women are involved, but mostly it's about men. And then, because of a city has to be protected, so they needed men to protect it. And then it becomes status that becomes that you don't want women out because they can get hurt or whatever, so you keep them all inside. And then you start, you can see the progression. And then, a good, strong ruler needs to have multiple wives, and then women's status drops again.
Yeah.
But
Well, so it did actually have a very strong correlation with religion.
yes, it did. Absolutely. Massively. Especially sacredizing. The idea that, like I said, at first, before the animal thing, women are sacred, women are special, but more special than men. And then, maybe not exactly. And then, not at all. And then actually less. And then no value.
Yeah. And now we're slowly building it back up again.
Try to build it back up again. But it's funny, though, because you go to some cultures, they're not all cultures were the same, especially ones that didn't touch each other. Because like in the Americas, women in some places had higher value for a long time. Some Native American tribes, women had a lot of value. And some of it was actually maternal, where women almost ran things, or were certainly seen as more matriarchy, or more or sometimes like they would pass the bloodline or the rights of stuff through females and not males. So it's even Aztecs allowed women to divorce, allowed women to own land, something that you can barely do, with the Catholic Church today in Mexico.
Whereas the Catholic Church is very behind in its moral views.
Well, especially like I said, in all over the world, but certainly some of the Latin American countries, they're definitely not doing anything that fair when it comes to women's rights.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have to go?
Yeah.
All right. What happened?
Sorry. He was just wondering if I wanted to go to dinner with his grandparents.
Oh, okay. Well, it was great talking to you, and I really appreciate your time. All right.
That's fine. I appreciated talking to you. It was lots of fun.
Well, thank you. Okay. Bye.
Yeah, bye.